guys, it's Ulrich with Guitar Ingenuity. Today with a review on the Tascam GB-10 guitar and bass trainer slash recorder. This nifty little device which works with electronic files, unlike the predecessor where you had to use CDs, which was an awesome device too, but always a little clunky, very heavy, and just compare those two in terms of size. So definitely a step into the right direction. I've been using the accessory for a few months now, and I thought I'm going to share a quick review with you on the main features. We're going to not go into all the features and into all the details, just focusing in on what I believe the key features are and the functionality that provides the most value. You can hop over on my website where you'll find a more comprehensive written review of the device. I'm going to post a link somewhere here. So let's get started. All right, I brought you a little bit closer just to give you an overview of the key features and explain the general functionality. Just again, for comparison purposes, look at this clunky thing here compared to the new version. So again, this was great because you could just work with CDs, but obviously it was always a little bit of a project. It's fairly heavy, so now working with electronic files, it's much easier. Speaking of electronic files, so what you obviously have to do is, if you want to work with songs, they have to be in a certain format. I believe the device supports different kind of formats, but if you want to work with a song that you have on a CD, you would have to convert that song from a CDA format. I hope that's the right format. And there are free conversion programs online or paid for conversion programs. It's fairly easy to do. So let's get started here. Here on the side is an input for the USB cable that comes with the device, so you don't have to worry about that. And you would just hook that up to your computer in order, for instance, to transfer files back and from the device. There are actually two ways of doing that. So you can do it with the cable, which is what I would recommend because it's much easier. You just plug it into your computer and then you shift your files around. Or alternatively, because the files are stored on a memory card, you can work with the memory card, which is a little bit more cumbersome because you would have to first open the battery compartment. The device is powered by two AA batteries. Let me just get them out. So again, two AA batteries. I don't know if they come with the device. I think they do actually. And see, here inside is the RAM card. So you would have to remove this card and put it back in all the time, and that's obviously not very practical. Therefore, I would recommend that you just leave the card inside the Tascam GB-10 and just work with the USB cable, which works much easier. But just so you know how it works, and the card comes with the device, as I just mentioned. So let me just put the batteries back in there. Battery life is great. I was able to work with the first set of batteries for several months. Now, obviously, you know, it depends how frequently you use it and for how long. And also, you need to make sure that you turn the device off when you're finished in order to extend the life of the batteries. But it lasted for several months, so no problems as far as that is concerned. Now, alternatively, you can get yourself a network adapter. Let me flip that over so you can actually read it. It's a 5-volt adapter, which does not come with the GB-10. So that is something you would have to order separately. Then here, as discussed, this is just the input for the USB cable. And here, what you see here is an input for the remote. So you can optionally get a remote control, so to speak, for the Tascam GB-10 to, you know, for example, when you have a loop, to start and stop and do these other kind of basics things. I would never bother with that, but if that's something you're interested in, you can certainly do that. Then here on this side, you have your regular guitar input and the input volume. This is essentially the volume. This is where you regulate the volume of your guitar. So for example, if you have a song playing and you want to play along with your guitar or you want to play over it, this is essentially the volume of your guitar. And lastly, you have an output for headphones or a regular line out. You can also use PC speakers, or you could even, if your amp has a line in interface, then you can use that too. You can hook it up to your amp. What I typically do is I just use my headphones, which go in right there. But for the purposes of this video, I'm going to hook this device directly into a Focusrite interface, which is then connected to my computer, so I don't have to mess around with mic and all that stuff. I'm going to use a Gibson SG-61 reissue, which I will plug straight into the Tascam GB-10, and the Tascam GB-10, as I just mentioned, will be connected to my Focusrite interface into my computer. I know some of you want to know these specific details, so I thought I'd mention it, but let's get started now. So apologies for the improvised setup here, but what I did is I connected the Tascam GB-10 to my guitar. I'm not going to use my Gibson SG. I'm going to use an Ibanez guitar, but it essentially doesn't matter. So it's connected right here. Then this is the line out, which goes for right now into my Focusrite interface for recording purposes. Usually this is where you would typically put in your headphones as you practice, or your loudspeakers, like the PC speaker, something like that. It is also connected to my computer via the USB cable. I'm going to zoom in a little bit now, just so you see the buttons and the dials a little bit better. I hope this is good enough. So the stop button right here is also the on and off button. As I mentioned before, make sure that when you're done using the Tascam GB-10, turn it off, especially when you use the batteries. That will extend the battery life significantly. Since I'm right now connected to the USB port, upon powering up the Tascam GB-10, I'm being asked, what do I want to do with the USB port? Do I want to manage the storage? Essentially, what that means is manage the files. I can transfer files back and forth between the computer and the GB-10, or for right now, I'm just going to confirm by hitting play. I want to use it as a power supply. So right now batteries are not being used, but just the USB power supply through my computer. Then the device powers up, and yeah, it just we got one song right here that it was transferred from my computer to the GB-10. The original song is on a CD, so I had to convert that into a WAV file and then transfer it over to the device. And since we're just talking about transferring files back and forth, what you can do when you hit the browse button right here, it's essentially it looks pretty much like your Windows Explorer, for the lack of the better term. So you have folders, and within each folders you have files, and you can shift files back and forth between folders. You can record your own songs and add them to folders, and the easiest way to do all that is while your device is connected via USB to your computer, and you would do that in the Windows Explorer of your computer. You know, renaming files and shuffling files back and forth folders is much easier on your computer. You can easily scroll up and down. You can go to the next level, to the higher level and higher level, lower level folders, just to navigate between the folder hierarchy. And the enter button, for the lack of the better term, is the play button. That is just something you got to get used to. So you probably hear a little bit of a tiny buzz right now. If I want to mute my guitar completely, I can just do so by hitting that button. So right now you shouldn't hear any buzzing or whatsoever. But now let me bring my guitar back, and by default the device comes with two channels, a dirty channel and a clean channel. We are right now in the dirty channel. I'm just gonna give you a sound sample. That's the dirty channel. By hitting the effect button, I switch to the clean channel. It sounds like this. So in my opinion, a pretty decent sound quality. Now these buttons are easy, they're pretty much self-explanatory. As I hit play, it plays the song that I have currently selected. I guess this song doesn't need any further introduction. By keep hitting the output minus button, I decrease the volume of the song. And I can reverse that easily by just hitting the plus button. So now let's say I want to learn a new song or a portion of the song, and I want to slow things down a little bit without having the pitch shifted. What I would do is pressing speed button, and you see right now it's at regular speed times 1. I can increase or rather decrease the speed by hitting the value minus button. Let me bring the volume up a little bit. Pretty much self-explanatory again. So the value button lets me adjust the speed of the song. Let's go up to 0.8. So let me just play along a little bit. So it is very convenient. I can adjust the speed to any level of my like. You know, as I get more comfortable, I can slowly increase the speed till I'm back to normal. Now we know practice means repetition. Therefore, it's neat to just isolate a certain portion of the song that I want to practice so I can really focus in on that part. It can be very easily done. Let me just rewind a little bit here. And what I'm going to do now is just right before the solo starts, I'm going to hit the loop button. And then I'm going to let it play for a few seconds, and then I'm going to hit the loop button again. What it does, it will add 2 markers, a start and an end marker. And then I can play that portion that I isolated in a loop, which helps me with repetition and practice. So I'm going to hit the loop button now. See, a little marker was added here. And I hit the loop button again. Let me just pause it for a second. So now I have this tiny portion here isolated. The speed is currently 0.8. Let me bring that up to 0.9 just for demonstration purposes. Hit the play button again. So you get the point. Now you see, you deal essentially with 2 different volumes. You have the volume of the song and the volume of your guitar. And sometimes your guitar is a little bit too loud or it's not loud enough. And there's a balance function which allows you to adjust the 2 volumes in relation to each other. So let me remove the loop by just by hitting the loop button again. Now the loop is taken out, and we're going to resume the song. And I hit the balance button. Now let me bring the value of the balance value down gradually, and you see what happens. The song gets, the volume of the song is lower, and the volume of my guitar is louder, vice versa. As I hit the plus button here and bring the volume of the song up. The tuner comes with several modes. I like the auto mode because it's the easiest. I can just tune string by string. Slightly out of tune. However, for those of you who like things a little bit more accurate and technical, if you just hit tuner again, so here calibration, I think now you can mess around with frequency and all these other things that are way too technical for me. And again, there are a couple of more things, but again, I usually just use the auto function. As I mentioned before, the home button is actually very neat. So right now I'm in the tuner. Let's say I want to go back to my song. You see, if I hit play now, it plays that, it gives me that meaty tone. So, but I actually want to go back and play my song. How do I do that? Well, you just hit the home button and that brings you back. The menu button allows you to play around with all the presets, the preset value of the GB-10. I usually do not mess around with that, but here is where you can adjust file names, you can adjust the presets of the guitar sound and all kind of things. Again, you can do tons of nitty-gritty things. I essentially never go there. However, all these additional features are available to you, and again, on my website I explain some of those additional features in a little bit more detail. Metronome, again, self-explanatory. I don't think we need to go through a whole explanation with that. Let me hit the home button and show you the last feature, which is recording your own file. So it's very straightforward. You just hit the record button. And so forth. Hit stop, hit play, and you hear your recording. Again, I just wanted to show you the main features of the Tascam GB-10. There's a little bit more you can do. Actually, there's much more you can do with it, but this is essentially, I would think, what most people use it for. I purchased it for a little bit over $100. The price has come down since. I encourage you to check, online, the various online resources for the most recent price information. What I like about it is the fact that you just can plug in your guitar like I did here, plug in your headset, put it on, and then you can practice. It's handy, it's light, it's easy to use, so I can only highly recommend it. Alright guys, that's it. I hope you found the review helpful. Again, we're talking about the Tascam GB-10 guitar trainer and recorder. Highly recommended. Current price point is about $90, but obviously I recommend, depending on, when you watch this video, the price might have changed, so I recommend that you go online and look up the most current price, but I wouldn't want to miss it. So if there's anything in the video that we didn't sufficiently discuss, I feel free, as mentioned before, to go over on my website, read the review, or just leave a comment below, send me an email, leave me a message, whatever you do. I'm more than happy to get back to you in a timely fashion. If this video was helpful, please leave a like. Also subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Till then, bye bye.